bow of the Wanderer. Very windy day. Here we are on the aft deck of the Wanderer. Down the starboard ladder. Railing and rolling up here. Top deck above the cabin house. Down. This is a floating wood floor in the main deck above asphalt tiles. Fortunately, absolutely no leaks. Ship's dock. About to enter the cabin house. Starboard door. Two steps down. Panning through the cabin house here. View out over the bow. Gimbaled compass. Looking aft again. Looks like there's seating in here for a good 8 people. This is the view down the ladder to the below decks area from the cabin. Here's a view forward. The ladder up to the helm. View aft. Ship's plaque. Looks like the ship's library here. Heading aft towards the galley. Nice excellent woodwork done by some highly skilled Canadian craftsmen. I think recently in the early 2000s when she was fitted out for expedition work. Period appropriate Glenwood stove, fine working condition. Skylight directly over the galley. Stainless steel countertops and sinks. Both sides. After the galley, we enter the captain's quarters. Again, very nicely fitted out. Beautiful wooden floors, terrific cabinetry, raised panels, raised panel doors, glazed doors, wooden walls and ceilings with insulation, desk area here in the captain's quarters. Propane stove for use underway. Bureau. Queen size berth there. And a skylight here over the captain's quarters. Aft the captain has a private head. It's unfinished but very functional. One of 8 heads on board. Again, this is not a guest head, this is the captain's head, so it's very utilitarian. Here we are heading down into the crew's quarters. It's the forepeak. We have bunks for 8 here. Oil lamps for evening use. You can see the finish is nice, but it's a little lighter level of finish than guest quarters. Plenty of room here for storage of goods and whatnot. Seating for 8 or even more. Wood ceilings with battens. And then looking back up the stairs towards the main deck.
So as we operated in colder waters, we could control the engine temperature with that device, so it wouldn't run too cool or too hot out.
So Samofa generators, huh?
Yeah, Dutch.
Yeah.
You'll see a lot of those on the YouTube too there.
Is that right?
Collector's items now, yeah.
Here we are deep in the engine room of Wonderbird. She has 2 17 kW Dutch-built generators. Some Alphas. They produce 110 volts DC, which is then converted to 220 volts AC. This is the aft end. And a beautiful engine. Requires manual oiling at least every half hour. This is their bottled water heating system here. Oil pump, multiple oil pumps on board for redundancy. Here you're looking at the inverter that converts DC to AC. Here are the pyrometers that you can use to monitor your exhaust temperatures. According to the owner, captain, this boat requires virtually a full-time oiler down here in the engine room when under operation. The engine maxes out at 500 RPM, and at 350 or so RPM, the boat's moving along at 7 knots with a full load. And at 7 knots, she's burning about a gallon per mile. So seven gallons per hour for this beautiful boat. Coming around. See on the starboard side of the engine. You've got a reflex heater there, which is a temporary installation, only for heating the engine room during the winter. The captain keeps the engine room about 45 and 50 degrees during the winter, just to keep the engine in a stable condition. Here's the second generator right here, one starboard, one port. Both generators are manual crank to start. There are no starters on the vessel at all. The engine started with compressed air. These are the compressed air storage tanks. There's a large compressor on the port side, which we photographed a moment ago. And there's a gangway going up to the next deck. Over here you're looking at the fuel manifold in a workshop. There's some equipment down here that's obsolete and no longer being used. To a large degree, this is the way the engine room was equipped and set up when the boat was first acquired by this particular owner, right out of a Dutch fishing fleet. Companionway ladder to the deck above. Here we are in the fish hold of the Wanderbird, now known as the guest quarters, but this is where the fish were stored when caught, when she was working as a Dutch trawler. Got a china cabinet here, linen cabinet rather. Very nice woodwork all the way through here. Looking forward, cabins to port and starboard. She's shut down now, but this room is set up to be representative of what you'd expect to see in each one of the cabins. The double berth. Storage below for duffel bags and whatnot. 4 saltwater heater, one in each cabin. Beautifully executed, built-in storage. With a desk near each cabin has its own desk and writing surface. Below the desk is more storage. Very nice joinery. All brass hinges and hardware in good shape. Hardwood floors. V-grooved panels on the walls painted. Wooden ceilings with mahogany battens. Each room has a fan. Each bed is set up, each berth is set up with a mattress heater with individual controls. And each cabin has its own ensuite head. Each head has a 10-gallon holding tank below the toilet and a direct pump out for use when in offshore waters. The head is, again, very nicely executed in mahogany. Brass sink, brass faucets. And it's set up with a sliding door. No swinging door here. The door slides, creating privacy in the head. And we're back into the cabin. Exiting the cabin, we mount back into the fish hold, and you see the companionway stairs, which is a very, very elegantly executed, bit of a winding stair, creating a delightful effect to the eye and a very functional effect here down below.
The coach house on the Red Jacket, which was built in her hometown of Rockland, Maine. She got the prints to it. This is a separate structure on the deck on the clipper ships was referred to as the coach house.
Oh, that's terrific. Here we are. We've just come up from the fish hold, up the winding stairs, and we're here in the coach house, which, as you might have just heard, is a carryover from the days of clipper ships. This is a beautifully executed aluminum structure on the exterior, attached to the aperture in the original hull that would have been the opening to the original fish holds. You can look down the wall here and see the windows on each side are stepped so that you maintain visibility and a continuum of the vistas that this boat was so often used to access. This dining area up here for 12 or 15. The tables, unlike the old drop leaf design, this leaf folds up. A little stiff right now since she's been on the service for a couple of years, but it supports sliding in and out. And when you're not using it as a dining table, it creates more access for the guests. All mahogany. Storage in each one. Looking to stern here in the room, we have a reflex oil stove. So this was a very toasty spot throughout the Arctic excursions that were so frequently made with this boat.